Alright, let's talk a little bit about combat cards and paying for the combat cards that you play. Now, at the beginning of the turn, you'll draw a hand of 5 combat cards. 2, 3, 4, 5. And your combat cards have a cost in the top left corner. Okay? This cost is the number of ferocity, agility, and power required in order to play that card. Your characters have boxes that are color-coded for ferocity, agility, and power. Okay? And then fortitude is the amount of damage it takes before the character is knocked out. So, Nautilon here has 4 ferocity. Well, these cards altogether only require 4 ferocity. Nautilon has 3 agility. These cards altogether require 6 agility. And then Nautilon has a maximum of 4 power that can be spent in a combat. These cards require 2 power. Now, you can spend power to pay for stats that you're missing. So I could pay for 2 extra agility and still cover the 2 power. So I could play these 4 cards if I was willing to pay the 4 power necessary. You don't get your power back after the turn. You have a certain amount of power that you begin the game with, and you're using it up slowly over the course of the game. You can sort of pass your turn by roaring in order to regain energy tokens. But you usually don't want to use power unless there's a good reason. So when I'm looking at this hand of cards I drew, I think maybe Nautilon is not a good character to fight with this hand. So let's look at Gorian. Gorian has 8 ferocity, 5 agility, but only 2 power to spend. But 8 ferocity and 5 agility is still not quite enough to play these cards because this is a more agility-heavy hand that I've drawn. And Gorian only can play 2 power per turn, so I don't have any help there. So let's look at Shamble. Shamble is 5 ferocity, 4 agility, and 4 power. So Shamble could play all these cards by paying all 4 power, but maybe I wouldn't even have to, because often the combat won't go the full 5 rounds, right? So when you draw your hand of combat cards, you want to take a look at what you have and which character you want to play as. Another thing to look at is whether your hand is offensive or defensive. This icon here, whichever icon is black, that's a sword, that's a shield, a sword, a sword, a sword. So this is 4 offensive cards and 1 defensive card. So that means you're probably going to take a lot of damage, but you'll be able to attack 4 times, so hopefully you'll be able to punch through. So also, if you had characters that were very damaged, you might not want to select them with a hand like this. Of course, which card you draw in your combat hand is very dependent upon how you've built your combat deck. If you have characters who have low stats, you maybe don't want to use very expensive cards like Hurl Building. Inner Rage is a really great card. It does +2 damage if you have a very low base ferocity, so very weak, low ferocity characters get great use out of Inner Rage. Things like Take a Stand can benefit from armor. Hurl Building benefits from shield. Energy Surge benefits from claws and armor. So trying to get a team that has similar traits you can take advantage of with your cards is another great way to go about building your combat deck.